Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, March the 25th. I am John Russell, and I am on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I am alongside my friend for a long time, Tim Hudson, Lou Hudson. You knew him as Lou on the radio down in Rochester.
Most likely not, but yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, you had some people that listened to you, right?
Theoretically. That's what the ratings said anyway.
No, yeah, the ratings said. I always thought it was funny. It's like, because I remember we had a roast for Tracy McCrae for her 40th birthday.
Mm.
I don't know if you were at that or not. And
I don't think so.
So it was a mix of radio people and her family and friends.
Wow.
And it was over at the what was that place we would have our Christmas parties at?
Oh, the Plumber House?
Yeah, it was at Plumber House. It was awesome.
I vaguely remember that place.
Yeah. And it was Tracy's 40th birthday. She says, "Oh, I want to be roasted." And I'm like, "Awesome." So I don't know, Brent got up and did something or other, and Megan got up and did something or other, and or I don't know what the order was. I get up and I'm like, it's a roast. You know? And
are they properly roasting?
Well, they were like, Tracy, your shoelaces are so crazy.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not a roast. But I had already thought up stuff. And I'm like, well, man, Tracy, your ratings you got like a 13 share, which ironically means that 87% of the people in Rochester don't know who the hell you are. And everybody's like, oh. And I'm like, it's a roast.
That's what you're supposed to do.
For God's sakes.
That's what you're supposed to do.
But it's like, your hair, you wear your hair so crazy.
I remember one of the first times that I did stand-up, and there's a reason that I don't do stand-up. But one of the first times I did stand-up, and I was one of these guys who thought it necessary, mostly because of not very smart, to write everything down on a tablet, on a notebook. Mm-hmm. And we did an open mic at a now defunct bar, which is now a cremation center.
Nice.
Called Mickey's.
Mm-hmm. And Mickey's Cremation Center?
It's not Mickey's Cremation Center. It's some other name cremation center. I don't know if they kept the actual bar. But you were hosting the open mic night that we tried there. Mm-hmm. And I tried to make it a 10-minute set of roasting you, which was not the point.
Right.
But there was so much easy material. And I even crapped the bed then.
Oh yeah, because you were not very good at comedy.
No,
I remember the first night that you did the open mic at Goonies. You had all your crap and paper, and you were storming back and forth on the stage, and it was like, "Who is this guy? This is a mad guy giving a lecture."
The only actual punchline that hit was, and this was like maybe a year or two after Obama was elected.
Yeah.
And I said, where's all the Obama fans in the house? And some of the crowd starts cheering. And I said, you effing idiots. And then the other half of the crowd cheered. And after that, I lost them completely for the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, because you were storming around like a I don't know what the hell you were doing. But anyway, yeah. So, how you been holding up during this? You're still working, right?
I'm considered essential. It's the first time that has ever been used to describe me. I am in the essential world of auto service. Oh. And not only am I in the auto service industry, but I also worked with the grossest, most depraved, disgusting section, and that is people who don't clean their own cars. I'm in detail.
Oh my. And that's essential.
It is. Well, I mean, especially since people, their transportation's, their ways of getting around are limited to their cars, and they're only going to be spreading whatever they've got to everybody else if they're not keeping their environment clean. So that's kind of what we're doing, not only with the cars that we've got on the lot, the cars we're trying to sell. Not really a hot auto market right now. But those who want to come in, we can detail their cars too. That's why we're around. And it kind of makes sense, for those who are still able to travel and are not completely sheltering in place, and still need to go out and get groceries, that they've got something clean, and the rest of the shop is still running too, as far as mechanical issues too.
Yeah. So when you're doing that, when you're cleaning up those cars, detailing them, do you have to at this point, are you wearing all the PPE?
We're wearing gloves. We're wearing the masks. We had the N95s a long time ago, and that was just kind of precaution anyway, because oftentimes, I mean, especially on like trade-ins that are going to go to our clearance center, where the cars are always sold for $10,000 or less. These are cars that are, 10, 15 years old, and that's probably the last time they were clean is when they came off the lot.
Yeah.
And so there's mold and black mold and dirty diapers and dried up booger eggs and everything else that you shouldn't be touching and shouldn't be breathing in. So
hey, Jeffy,
that was that's been kind of our standard anyway. So I mean, for the most part, we're protected, but it's really just a whole lot of washing hands, because we keep hearing the thing that hand sanitizer doesn't do near as good as what we already know how to do with these, and that's wash them.
Actually, just wash them out.
Pretty clean, right?
Yeah. So, well, gosh, I mean, you're busy working. I'm busy trying to wake up.
Yeah, there's two sides of the coin to that, because some people would rather be in your position, where it's like, I don't have to worry about anything.
Dude, I absolutely hate it so much.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, that is the reason that I'm doing this. It's not because I mean, part of it is because, I'm okay at it. Hey, there's my mom. Good morning, Mom, or afternoon.
Mama Russell.
I literally, if I wasn't doing this, I would have absolutely zero reason to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly, it's driving me nuts.
Because you had one awesome job at the airport, and then you had the other job, and it seemed as though both of them
an awesomer job
disappeared almost at the same time, right?
Yeah, I was working for a company called Market Source, doing as a consultant / trainer, and we were working with Dunkin' Donuts, and it was honestly, it was awesome. It was, I'm 58 years old, and it's the best job I ever had in my life. And it was like I was supposed to be doing this, and got to work for him for 6 weeks. And then because I loved working at the airport, it was fun de-icing planes. But I hadn't worked there since literally the last weekend I worked at the airport was the first weekend that I worked for Market Source. And then I hadn't worked since then, but because I wanted to still like stay on and have that available, I worked last weekend on Friday and Saturday. And just because as it came up and I knew we weren't traveling X or Y or Z, I'm like, okay, I can do Friday night and Saturday night. Friday night, there was nothing. Saturday night, we did 22 planes. Which surprised the hell out of me, because I didn't think there'd be 22 planes flying out of MSP.
I was just going to say that. I mean, aren't you a little surprised that the whole airline thing is still going on?
Well, at the time, yeah, because I look in those things. I heard somebody say that Delta Airlines is losing $50 million a day, which doesn't surprise me.
No.
But I look on that airplane, and it's like 25% full. I mean, it's like there's nobody in the windows. Normally we're doing it, there's people looking out. What the hell are those guys doing? And on Friday night, there was nobody. I mean, it was like, God, how can you even fly those planes? I remember when I was younger, my brother was up in Grand Forks or something. I don't remember how it all worked out, but he flew down, he'd fly back to Des Moines. And of course, there's no direct flights from Grand Forks to Des Moines. So he came to MSP, was going to switch planes, go from Minneapolis to Des Moines, and they just said, "Oh yeah, well there's something wrong with the lights. We can't fly it." And because there were 4 people on it.
Right.
So it's
and
like
I've been to a Vegas flight where there was 9, and that included the crew. I don't know how many were in the cockpit, but that included the crew. But now it seems as though, if they're only 25% full, and they're willing to take anything. If you think about it, though, when it comes to what it takes to get the plane off the ground, the crew that's on the plane, everything that has to happen to maintain the planes, clean the planes, keep them going. There's no way they're making money for even having the plane take off.
Right. Exactly.
They're losing money every time they get off the ground.
So anyway, but they're and then it's funny because I had talked with one of the supervisors at the de-icing company, which is a fantastic company. By the way, anybody, if you want to have next fall a really awesome job that's a lot of fun and you have a lot of fun with fun people, and it's not that difficult, hit me up, because I can get you a job up at the Integrated De-icing Services. Judy Cooper, my gosh, good to see you. Judy, I gotta tell you, Tim, Judy Cooper was the director at the Black Swan Dinner Theater. And my gosh, did we have fun. I did 2 shows for her. One was the ever popular Tears on My Pillow, where I played Vinny something or other, Scottermaka or something.
Was this the video that we saw
a couple of days ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a little chunk of it. Judy, we found it. I've got a DVD of the entire. Well, it's not the entire show because some of it's missing. But we had a VHS. I think we recorded a VHS one time, and my mother apparently took it to Walgreens or somebody and had them put it onto a DVD. But she took it there and they put it on, and they said, "We can't do this. There's copyrighted material on here." But yet they gave her the completed DVD back and didn't charge her for it. Right?
Kind of defeats the point of the whole "you can't do this" thing.
Yeah, I thought it was like, well, shoot, that's terrible. Yeah, it was. Oh gosh, that was fun. That was fun. But I'll tell you, yeah, I had some of that. I got the whole thing. I just don't know how to get it all off of there to make it into a so I can chunk it up. I had one, but unfortunately the audio was not very loud. When I played it, if you saw it from a couple of days ago, but I got plenty of time now. I should maybe work on that, huh?
I just thought it was a show for the deaf.
That's mean. That's mean.
I really thought it was. You signed all of the songs.
Oh yeah, I mean, in hindsight, Judy, keep doing it until they tell you to stop. Right? Never got a cease and desist. The Everly Brothers didn't say squat because I think they were already dead. And whatever. I mean, but it was so much fun. And here's the thing I loved about it. And gosh, Judy, maybe I should have you come on here with me too. The thing I loved about it was that we had 33 songs in this show, and oh my gosh, the dialogue that you had written was kind of skeleton, and literally it evolved as we did the show. It became more and more improv like, and oh my gosh, we had a deal where I played a guy that wanted to be Elvis, right? And somewhere for some reason in one of the things, I ad-libbed the line, "Hey, has anybody got a jelly donut?" Right? Because apparently Elvis liked jelly donuts. And I started doing.
He liked peanut butter too.
Well, yeah, he did.
And banana sandwiches. And he died with white feces in his colon.
But peanut butter is messy on stage. Anyway, the point is, I bring it up, and people laughed. So it was awesome because anytime we would bring up a line, and everybody would do it, you'd bring up a line, and if it got a laugh, it stayed in. And if it didn't, we just moved on. It was so awesome. It was so much fun. And so the jelly donut thing, here's the thing. There were some people that loved this so much, they would come like multiple times, you know? And so as it went on, I say, anybody got a jelly donut? Here's somebody with a jelly donut in the audience. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go, I gotta go get the jelly donut.
An improv line that became an inside joke.
An improv line that proved to be a gateway to me getting diabetes.
Because that wasn't the only thing, but it contributed to it.
No, it was no. But I remember one night there were a whole bunch of people, and anybody got a jelly donut, and there were like 16 people holding up jelly donuts. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
You did take a bite out of each one, right?
No, I waited until after the show and ate them all.
Okay. So was this your kind of first actual
stage time? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, was this your first time like performing to a crowd? How did you even get? How did that even come about?
So it's kind of historically, it's kind of an odd thing, right? So when I moved up to Fargo, I was working as a regional manager for a food company. And unfortunately, during that time, I got divorced. And we were separated for a while. And I had nothing to do at night. So I started going to, for whatever reason, I think I went to the Holiday Inn because I like playing blackjack. Also got a gambling problem, by the way. But yeah, I do. And that's a whole nother story for a whole other day. Anyway, so I'm there playing blackjack, and at the Holiday Inn, they got karaoke also on whatever night. And one of the dealers, because I've been going there, I got nothing else to do, right? So I'm in there and I'm doing that, and one of the dealers says, "Oh, I bet you wouldn't sing," and I'm like, "I will too sing," and blah 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 blah, whatever. Long story short, I sing, I do well, and hey, Mikey, good to see you, buddy. And all of a sudden, I'm like, now instead of playing blackjack, I'm hooked on karaoke, which is fine by me, you know, I'm not spending nearly as much money. And so in the meantime, I have, it's a whole nother story about about leaving the food company as regional manager. And it's only a problem when you're losing. That's correct.
That's very true.
He knows yeah.
Just like it's only a drinking problem if you have a problem drinking.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, point being, I left the food company, started with Q98 in Fargo, North Dakota, and as a sales guy. And there was another sales guy that knew that I did karaoke because he would go out and we'd hang around. He didn't sing, but Brian Shin was his name. And he was Judy's initial sales rep from our company. And he called on her and found out that she was holding auditions for this show. She had a successful show about correct me if I'm wrong, Judy, about girl groups from the 60s, and very successful in a downtown hotel that was successful enough that she and her husband decided to give this dinner theater a try in the old music conservatory in downtown Rochester, called it the Black Swan Theater. And anyway, Brian Shin said, "Hey, they're having auditions. We should go." So I went, and long story short, here I was, and somehow or other, she thought that I would be a good guy that wanted to be Elvis. And it was so much fun. It was the Radisson. That's right. And we had so much fun doing that show. Don't shoot! It's Shannon's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Shannon!
Shannon McCartney. Good to see you. Or good to
she used to do traffic, which has a different meaning in radio because there's two types of traffic. But
that's right.
Traffic back in the day.
That's right. And happy birthday,
that's
Shannon.
Awesome. You know what? I realized this is the first time that you and I have actually done a show that wasn't a fake show at the same time and live. First time ever. And I did radio for 13 years, and you did radio for what, 17 years?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
It is. You never know how you're gonna meld with each other. And especially when you get two creative types. You almost try to outdo each other, but in a good way. You feed off each other's creativity and your good energy, So this is really cool. And you talk about how this is for your own mental sanity, but I mean, there's a lot of people who are just trapped in not knowing what to do. And
Well,
so to feel like you're just part of something, regardless if it's funny or lame or whatever it is, like just building a sense of community is healthy.
yeah, and honestly, that's the reason I got that scroll down there at the bottom. I'm if people are watching, that's great. Yesterday when I had Andy Fisher on, we had somebody from Tokyo say hello, and we had somebody from Alaska say hello, and the fellow from Alaska, or I can't remember if it was
I think it was a lady.
I think it was too, but she watched our wrestling show too. Which, by the way, if you want to see me wear a mask, which makes the whole thing a lot more palatable,
you just blew your cover.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
All right.
Now I will say this. Last night we did a live stream on Facebook, and by the way, there are tons of things that you can watch if you're stuck at home. Ali Sultan is a comedian out of Minneapolis. He is doing some live comedy, kind of a virtual open mic type thing, but it's not open mic comics. It's like pro comics that. Yes, we'll do it, Judy. I'll come up there, and I will look forward to talking with you. Have a good afternoon, my friend. But he does a show on Instagram, and it's pro comics. It's very good. So give that a watch if you can.
Yeah, you said Ali is slaying it. Like he's killing it when it comes to doing this.
Yeah, he's actually doing it pre-time, and he's already been interviewed on I believe public television or public NPR. I can't remember which it was, but really, really good stuff that he's doing. A lot of, and there are a lot of other people that are doing open mics. There is a list somewhere. And if I can find it, I'll put it in here and post it but there's also a lot of music, like Chris Lawrence was doing live music the other night.
Oh, cool.
It all started with on St. Patrick's Day, I believe. Dropkick Murphys did a big full show for free on the internet. And there's a lot of, you see it on the news. If you watch the news, there's a lot of people doing stuff. Having said that, the reason I bring it up is, so I've been doing this wrestling show with Ace for about close to a year now. And last night was the first night that we had any problems, and we had some throttle problems with Facebook, and it ended up choking our stream off and going down.
Oh,
it's because there are so many people streaming things. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's a good thing. If you want to do it, now's the time, because there's going to be people that watch you, and it'll make you feel better if you feel like you need to do it, which is where I'm at.
It's almost just a healthy outlet, regardless of what comes out of your mouth.
Absolutely. Because the beautiful thing is, it's just like TV. If you don't like it, you can change the channel.
Yeah.
Although I don't think anybody should change the channel here.
No, absolutely not. That'd be ridiculous.
But yeah. Anyway,
I hosted trivia, and I used to do several bar gigs back in the day. Okay, so before, and I think like the first year, my son was born, while my wife was pregnant, I was doing 5 bar gigs a week.
Wow.
So I was doing radio, and then I was out of radio, and I was back into radio. But at the time I was doing 5 bar gigs a week. So I was doing Sex Toy Bargo on Wednesdays. And we would give away stuff. Bingo related stuff. And then I was doing Throwback Thursdays, and then I was doing a bar gig Friday, and then I was on a rooftop Saturday, and then I was doing trivia on Sundays, and then we were doing a podcast with Ace on Mondays, leaving me one day. And I got rid of all those gigs except for trivia, which I've been doing for over the past 5 years at a bar downtown. And Tap House, quick name drop. But it would have been March 15th, I think, like 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
Maybe my dates are off. But the owner had got a bunch of texts and DMs on Facebook, saying like, "Are you going to have trivia? It would be so irresponsible for you to do so." None of the bans, none of the shutdowns had happened yet. And so she puts a message on Facebook: "We're going to close this. We're canceling trivia. We're not going to do it." And then 2 o'clock, she calls me and says, "Screw it. We're doing it. Don't worry." Usually I put out a promotional video that kind of teases the categories and the prizes we're going to have that night. She said, "Don't put anything up. We'll just go ahead and do it." So she puts on Facebook that we're going to do this, and no mention of like, if you're scared of the COVID virus, stay away. This is practical common knowledge, like that you should know. So 7 o'clock comes around, and I get there at 6:30 to set up, and we're already half full. And by the time 7 o'clock hits, we're packed. It's like every other Sunday. So, I mean, it's interesting how people are handling this. There was another bar downtown, just a block away from where we are, and the last day to have the bars open was St. Patty's Day, right till 5 o'clock, and they got so much flack just for staying open, and the amount of heat that they got. We're reaching that point where it's like, I think everyone's just they're using common sense. They're staying at home if they have to, especially if you don't have a job. What else do you do? I'm hoping we're on that precipice between people who are panicky,
Little Brandy,
and people who are knowing we're going to ride this out. We're going to make it. Everything's going to be fine. But in the meantime, everybody's trapped with no outlet to not feel alone.
Yeah, and it's a difficult thing, and as has been mentioned in a lot of people, apparently Governor Walz, it's been I don't want to say leaked, but many news sources now are saying that at 2 o'clock he's going to announce the I don't know what they're calling it, stay-at-home order for the state of Minnesota. And if we're still talking by then, I'll put it up on here. But otherwise, I think we may or may not be done, depending on how bored I get with you. You're welcome. It's just being honest.
It's for everyone's sanity, though. I understand.
Yeah. But having said that, by the way, hi Brenda Swanson, Manny, Little Brendy. I've known Brenda since 1993, I think. She was the started as the receptionist at Q98 when I got hired, and ended up as a salesperson. You have those close friends that you don't see for many, many years, and then when you see them, it's just like you pick right back up. Before all this happened, like in when was that, Brenda? Was that February? I think you were down in. Hi Lee, how you doing, buddy? Brenda was down in Minneapolis, and I got a chance to go and talk with her and hang out with her for a couple hours. And that was a lot of fun. That's the kind of stuff that I'll miss. People come to Minneapolis is a nice place. People go, "Hey, I'm coming through town." Well, I'd love to stop and see you. What are we doing?
Yeah, we don't get to see each other that often, and I think I've known you since 2004.
Yep.
But you're one of those guys that you can pick up where you left off, and this is one of those things that I'll tell you, John. No matter what's going on in your life, you're one of those guys that I'm so honored to call you a friend, and it's a privilege just to do this with you. You're a funny, creative, talented guy, and it is really cool to have you part of my life. So
excellent. So that means that's the end of the show.
Yep, and we are done. So I cut us off right now. That's usually the send-off, but I just wanted you to know. I mean, so many people just, people are feeling alone, and they're feeling like, what the hell do I do right now? What?
Yeah, it's very kind of you to say that. And by the way, I know that it's happening to everybody. People are having their jobs, they're being laid off, and this is the reality. I mean, it's just so hard. It's like, yeah, well, you're laid off, but for how long? And B. Is it a layoff, or is it just because is the company not going to come back?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The biggest problem I think in all of this, first of all, is the isolation. And by the way, I saw a report that Minnesota was the top state in terms of people staying away and doing the separation.
And we've always been good at being passive aggressive. So
well, that's right. And
yep.
To be fair, I never want to talk to anybody much anyway. But
that's more aggressive.
Well, it's this. I notice. Here's the thing. I got to notice this. I notice I got the scowl, the Russell scowl, and Brenda remembers this. This was a coin term back like Q98. It's like the patented Russell scowl, and it's just like, but it's just my normal face.
It's your resting face.
I had resting bitch face before it was a thing.
I let you say that.
Well, I didn't think you would, because you're
ahead of the curve, man.
But anyway, whatever. So everybody's. I know my brother just was laid off, and you just don't know. You just don't know. That's the hard part about it. And then we're all thrown into this turmoil, because I think for most people, you have a hard time. Like if you're off the company insurance, or are you on it? See, I don't know. I got told on Friday, you're laid off. I have no information whether I'm still on the company insurance. I have to have some kind of something to show in order to get on state insurance, because now I have zero. I mean, I'm lucky because I lost 2 jobs inside of 4 days. Yeah, I also say we got yesterday. I got a season over from the de-icing company, which, I mean, it's getting warm, and all the airlines have cut down their planes. So
yeah, so they're like a third party, and they're just there to do their thing, and then when the season's over, like they dip out. It's not actually like MSP related.
Correct. It's Integrated De-icing Services it's an awesome company, and it was a great company to work for. Hopefully, I'll be doing it for them again if I've got time to do it, depending on how the other job pans out. But very flexible for a comedian. 6 feet. That's right, Tom. 6 feet is too close for us. We're an 8 foot kind of community. But they've got stations all around the country. Minneapolis is one. Detroit is one. Salt Lake City is one, and they got a bunch of other ones, mostly bigger airports. And they've got the trucks that we drive to de-ice the airplanes, $500,000 trucks.
Oh, wow.
That's more than any house I ever owned. And we get to drive them around the airplane, and to be honest, it's very scary. Initially, they don't tell you, hey, don't hit the airplanes. I mean, they tell you don't hit the airplanes, but you think, oh my God,
tell you to, as though that is
no. It's like, I think to myself, oh my God, I'm going to hit that airplane. I'm so nervous. And then you get in the truck, and it's like, the fastest the truck can go when you're de-icing is 3 miles an hour.
Oh, well, you'd think for $500,000 they go a little faster than 3.
Yeah, you can soup them up. If you turn on the hot air compressor, you can get up to 4.
Okay.
But the thing about it is, it's like then you realize once you get out there and do it once, oh man, I would have to be asleep to hit an airplane, literally.
Because you didn't try it.
You take your foot off the gas, and it just stops. You don't even have to hit the brakes, But that's anyway.
You brought up a good point earlier when you were saying that, are you laid off? Is the company going to exist? There's going to come a point where this is going to end. And if we're at the phase right now where people are getting $1,000, $1,200 every couple of weeks, do we reach that phase where all of a sudden it's the bans are taken off, everyone can get back to work, and people will just, why would I want to do that? And the other thing is, are there going to be businesses to actually go back to? Is it going to get to the point that we can't get this engine started again? Because the essential services, whatever those have been coined to be, they're not going to keep this. It's not going to keep this whole engine going. And do we get to the point that we can't even turn this thing over anymore?
Yeah, it's interesting, and a lot of it's timing. Really. I got laid off on Friday. My understanding of all this big bill that they just passed last night was that they're going to be paying companies to keep people on. Well, I've already been laid off, so what the hell does that mean? You know.
Right.
By the way, if you'd like to support, this is Nature's Touch cherry flavored water from Quick Trip. They don't pay me to say this, but that's probably the best flavored water.
Move you because I'm gonna grab my water while I'm at it.
But don't you dare, don't you plug your water. You can have a drink, but don't plug it.
More of a members mark Sam's Club kind of guy.
Get it out of there. Get it out of there. I got to
buy my ass like this bulk.
Oh my gosh. So my grandkids, some of you know I got grandkids and they're awesome. And if it wasn't for them, I'm lucky they live 1.5 miles from me, which, to be honest, is just inside the social distancing. So I can still go over and see them. So this cherry flavored water, my grandson and granddaughter are called, yes, Chris Anderson. Yes. Let me get that up there. Chris Anderson works for the Hormel Company.
I was just about to say, we're just down from Spam Town.
That's right.
In Austin, Minnesota.
I don't know. I hope I don't know if you're working or not, Chris, but god darn it, good for you. Cherry limeade. Well, cherry limeade, they don't have at Quick Trip, Kelly. Cherry limeade they have at Walmart. And
maybe she getting that black market cherry limeade.
Black market cherry limeade. Are you mixing your own, Kelly?
The best.
If you're mixing your own,
she's getting some of that pink drink.
So the point is, here's how you become a really good grandfather. All right, you find something like cherry water, and you call it cherry water.
Right.
And then you also pick up something great that you like gummy worms. And then you go and visit your grandkids, and then you play, do you want some cherry water? Oh, we love cherry water. I get it and say, do you want to try watermelon water? No, just the cherry water is fine. And then the gummy worms, oh, Members Mark. Yeah, well, that's Sam's, right?
So I'm talking about.
Put it down. They're not paying. And so anyway, with the gummy worms, what I do with my grandkids is I play I'm the fisherman and they're the fishies.
Yeah.
And then I dangle it up there and they go like, and it's so funny.
This reminds me of the malt liquor phase when Zima was on its first and most successful run, and you would take Jolly Ranchers, allegedly, because I never drank Zima.
Yeah.
But you would take Jolly Ranchers and you would plop them in, and then just like you would sink the lime in a Corona, not virus, but a beer, you'd flip the bottle upside down, and you'd watch that Jolly Rancher go to the top and let it sit there and fizz for a little bit. Turn that son bitch red, and then you drink it, because that might make Zima more tolerable.
Well, we did in Fargo and Moorhead, because if Brenda's still watching, we had a huge promotion with Zima in many places, and oh my God. So I'll say this. So for me, with my clients, when I was up in Fargo, right, I had so many bar nights. Q98, by the way, was a rock station, a heritage rock station, and we had a lot of clients, and a lot of them were bars. Sunday and Monday night, I had karaoke at the country bar. Tuesday night was something or other somewhere. I don't remember. Maybe I had Tuesday nights off. Wednesday night,
Depends on You night?
No, that was not Depends on You night. That was Tuesday. I don't think I did anything. Wednesday
we
night,
can talk about that awesome promotion.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. But Wednesday night was Wing It Wednesday at Hooters, and I yes, Mikey, Zima at Chumley's. Oh my God, yeah. That's a whole nother story. But Thursday night was Mug Night at Cactus Jack's. Friday night was Singled Out Night at The Rock, a place where the bar was called, or it used to be called Rock and 50s, then they used to call it The Rock. And the interesting story about this is, so I inherited this client from somebody, and Do you remember watching Bozo on WGN?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Vaguely. That's almost beyond my time, but I do remember it. Yeah.
But every day on Bozo, they would have, the kids come up and they pick 2 kids to play the grand prize game. And in fact, Brenda also worked there and worked at the radio station at the same time. Mug Night was sweet. So The Rock was doing, and I don't even know how they even agreed to do this, but The Rock was doing the grand prize game. And the grand prize game was there's 5 little buckets attached to a board. And you got to throw ping pong balls into them. And if you can get all the way to the end, you win the big prize, the grand prize, right? This is what they were doing at an adult bar for prizes. And
you weren't shooting the ping pong balls from anywhere.
No, you're
into these cups.
You're just throwing.
Okay, well, it'd be a much more talented thing to do if they were coming out of somewhere. But yeah,
I don't want to go there.
Okay.
But the thing about it is that the owner calls me up one day because I'm supposed to come and meet him on whatever day it is, and the owner calls me up and says, "Yeah, I think we got to talk about what we're doing with you." And I'm like, I got to come up with some other goddamn idea. And I literally have the time because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have the time to drive from my office to his bar.
Mm-hmm.
And we get there and I'm thinking, and this literally, it's been like 1 month, 2 months that Singled Out with Jenny McCarthy and Chris Hardwick is on. The first iteration was freaking crazy and wild, and everybody went nuts for it, right?
Yeah.
So I get there and I say, well, there's this show. What if we do Singled Out night? And he doesn't even know. Yeah, oh God, yeah. Yep, that was crazy, Mike. And he asks his head bartender, who I can't remember at the time, but he says, have you heard of this Singled Out thing? And his bartender goes, oh yeah, it's huge. And so I and everybody else that was in the morning show on the radio station come up with this how to do the grand prize or how to do grand prize game, how to do Singled Out at the Rock. And I get the limo guy that's going to take them, and I get a restaurant that's going to. So basically, if you win, you go out on your Singled Out date to this restaurant, and then they come back. Didn't realize it. Didn't realize it at the time. I mean, and I'll say this: it was mammoth. It was huge. I did probably the most intricate and complicated ad I'd ever done for this. And we ran it, and I not only did we run it as a paid thing, but we ran it as a promo too because we want to get people out there. We get out there, and I'm like, I hope this works. I hope this works. Place is jammed. And then the first thing we go through, and it works out excellent. And we do it the second time. It's like, and then it's like, we get a comment from somebody who's like, that guy's a little creepy. I don't really want to go on the. So then we ended up having to substitute on-air personalities. It's okay. You want to date with this person. You know what that is? That's when a sitcom, just like when a sitcom's doing really well in season 1, season 2, getting into season 3, people have already, all the characters are already established. The interest is starting to wane. It's time to bring in a new character. Yes. Well, all I can tell you is that was the craziest thing I remember. I had a lot of fun with a lot of different stuff, though. It was great to work in radio, and I loved it. Was there any single event that killed that? No, I think, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I think what happened was we got in 1996 when the telecom bill went through, we got sold. I mean, literally the next day. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, Fargo Moorhead was the first market of any size that went from 4 owner groups down to 2. And literally immediately. And Mike's got a point, by the way. He does. But anyway, what was I going to say? Talking about consolidation. Yeah. Here's what I think happened. I think what happened was I just had all this stuff going on. I mean, I had a bar night every night, but Saturday, and I was getting burned out a little bit, and plus, I was drinking a lot. And what happened is, and Mike and Brenda, anybody that worked at the station up there at the time can attest. Because here's the other thing: at that station, we all hung together. If somebody had a night, we all went to it. It was camaraderie like I never ever felt when I was in Rochester.
I caught the tail end of that when I started in radio back in '98. And James Raby, the Lord of the Night, I think he had just moved to mornings like the year before, maybe 2 years before that. He would do Wednesday ladies' night at Rookies. And that was huge. And he would see a lot of the radio staff there. And then he asked me to do music, and I was only 20 at the time. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never been at a bar, or at least a bar of that size. And then if I'd been in the bar, I hadn't been drinking, and that broke both of those rules. But it would get towards the end of the night, and you give a kid $100 a night and the ability to drink with no tab, and he is not going to remember what he played at the beginning of the night. Guaranteed.
So were you multiplying?
Yeah, I mean, you can get your request in 4 times. There's a really good chance that I was going to play it.
4 times?
4 times. Sometimes back to back, like a 2 for Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
But radio here, there's basically 2 groups in town now.
Yeah.
Town Square and iHeart, and there were big.
No, it isn't, is it, Alan? Alan Reed, by the way, if you're watching from Rochester, there's literally, hey, you can go to Alan Reed. You've got your own exit. That's awesome.
Yeah, radio is definitely not the same, and especially since there's only Town Square and iHeart, and basically iHeart just made all of their air staff, with the exception of I think one who is still live, disappear like a fart in the wind. I mean, the radio has changed dramatically. Like I worked for an independent group. It was a guy out of Albert Lee that owned Power 96 in Albert Lee, not the Power 96 in Faribault, because there were 2 different Power 96s, and I don't think they were directly related.
Makes perfect sense.
Anyway, yeah, good marketing. So he buys this station, the old KNXR, which played essentially elevator music, but had a huge following in that so coveted 55 to 80 demographic. The ones that are going out and spending money on like movable beds,
wheelchairs, walkers,
medications, right? Yeah, Afghans if they're not making them themselves. Very coveted market. And they switch it over, and they do this hybrid kind of top 40 throwback station with 97.5 Pulse FM. And we start doing really, really well. And 11 months into it, the owner's not making as much money as he could. I mean, he's still losing money. I mean, we're getting a really good listenership, and then sells. Now he bought for $750,000, sold for $4 million.
That's capitalism.
I would do this. Yeah, it is. I can't fault the guy. I mean, everyone's like, "Well, aren't you really pissed off of that?" It's like, no. If I can make 4 times my 5 times, 4 times my investment in less than a year, I'd be doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was probably the crappiest way, but I mean, radio's kind of cutthroat like that anyway, and especially with the consolidation that went on, like that was pretty prevalent. But like people would get their heads lopped off, and you were told that you're going to be part of the group, and that's what I was told. It's like, okay, you've made it, you're going to be part of it, and then 90 minutes before they flip the switch on what the station is now, it's greatest hits. So basically, it is a giant ripoff of Q108. They even have the same jingle package. 90 minutes before they flip the switch, I'm out the door. Didn't know what was happening, so I help them convert it, get it all ready to go, and then
yeah, that happens. Well, I'll tell you, it's radio was so much fun, and I met some of the best people that I know in radio. And honestly, Brenda knows this. I really feel like the best years of my life were from about 1993 until 1998 when I moved. because I mean, we had and Brenda's right here. I'm going to bring her comment back up there. We got jammed into one office building. Our whole staff got jammed into what one person was using as an office. We were in that one office, and it really became for us and us against them kind of mentality. And I think we really thrived on that. And I mean, we really got close, the whole crew of people that were working there. And it was, I mean, man, it was really something.
But you knew that, it was, you were all on one team and one common goal.
Yeah.
When I started, it was Southern Minnesota Broadcasting, and the owner lives just over the hill from where I'm sitting right now. And there were 3 stations in that building. That was it. Actually, no. When I started there were 2 stations in that building: KROC AM and KROC FM.
And the other,
Y105 was in Stewartville.
Stewartville, yep, down at the golf course.
And when I got out of that building, when I left in 2015 to work for their competition, there were 7 stations there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had a whole floor of the bank building, and Brenda's right. Pranking the other reps was so much fun. So I had this little device that was a boombox. It's the human boombox thing, right? So you push a button and it would amplify your voice, but it also had these little sound effects on it. So it'd be like that, and you could push the buttons and sort of have a little whatever. I used to call one sales rep in particular and hold the thing up to the phone and just go and I don't know if I called her or if I intercommed to her desk. But I did that all the time. And she's like, who's doing that? It was so much fun. It was
awesome. Sounds so unlike you to troll.
I would never. It was not. I was just trying to, perk up somebody's day.
Yeah. I mean, Radio for me was that was kind of my identity for a while. And I don't know if that's healthy, but because you learn that there's more things besides your job. But it was one of those things that no matter how crappy your day was going, especially if you were on air, you could always, and you should be able to do this anyway in life, no matter how you're feeling, you have the ability to change that.
No, not Tiffany, Mike.
But just when you would get on the air, your entire mindset was, I'm going to entertain. I'm going to have fun. My entire objective is to sound as though I am incredibly happy no matter what's going on in my life.
Yeah. You become an actor all the time, and that's always been kind of my problem. Oh yeah, we did. We had to call from an outside line. That's right. Just to, and here's the other thing too. I was like, I would let people borrow my little device so that they could get Bert. Yeah. Bert was, and to be fair, there was nothing wrong with Bert other than the fact that she was on the other side and we were a ganner.
Just easy prey?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the kind of the best way to do it.
It is. Well, I gotta tell you. So, we already kind of know that Governor Walz at 2:00 is going to have his coronavirus update, and all the news outlets are reporting that he's going to close the state of Minnesota and announce it at this update. So it's about 5 minutes until 2. That's when the update is going to come down. And I just want to say to all of you out there that are watching, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me. And maybe one day I'll just come on with just me so I can answer anything that anybody says. I love just talking to you guys, and I can't get everybody on here at once. Yeah, that's right, Mikey. I can't get everybody on here at once, but I can talk to everybody via Facebook, and I'd love to do that sometime. I really appreciate it. Also, if you can support anybody else that's streaming any kind of content right now, please do that, because the reality is that creatives like me, and you got to have an outlet. And when you're stuck at home and you can't do anything, it's really, really hard, and it's hard mentally. Aside from everything else that everybody else has to deal with, all the virus stuff, all the job stuff, all of that stuff, it's doesn't really compare to the fact that you end up having to be stuck at home. And
there's nothing rougher than stifling the creative mind too.
Yeah. Thanks, Mikey. Thanks for watching, buddy. I appreciate it very much. But having said that, please support anybody that's doing streaming. If they're good, bad, indifferent, if you see them go by. I do this sometimes. I don't have enough time to watch because I'm busy doing nothing. But I will go by, and if I see somebody that I know that's doing a stream, I like it, because that helps. When you like it, it helps the it helps in the what's the word I'm thinking of? Algorithm, so that other people can see it, and other people can see what they're doing. And I'll tell you, the more people that watch it, the bigger kick you get out of it. It's just the whole thing. Thanks, Aaron. There's my brother Alexandria. You got zero COVID up there. I don't know. Alan, you are awesome, my friend. You are, and you're a legend in Southeast Minnesota radio. Alan,
and that's coming from a guy who did radio for 29 years.
Alan was probably on every radio station in Rochester, I would think.
Yeah, that's not even an exaggeration. I think he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he worked with Brent Ackerman when he was on the air. I did too, but Bill Davis.
Yeah.
The Scoop.
Yeah.
So many guys that have come and gone, and that guy, he kept right on going.
He did. All right. Well, Tim, Lou, Tim is my friend. Lou on the air. Thank you so much for spending some time and talking with me. Let's plan on doing it again sometime.
Hey, and one quick little plug, if I may.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't go to Trivia at the Tap House, but for those who want to add some production element to their podcasts or their web stream, obviously JR is way ahead of the curve when it comes to the streaming thing. He was trying to tell me, and I'm like, this seems over my head. But if you're going to old school audio and you're doing a podcast and you want someone to beef it up or edit it or do any post prod on it, Lou Hudson Production. There, I have to get a cheap shameless plug.
I think you should. You deserve it, my friend. All right, everybody. Tomorrow at 1:00, I have a fantastic comedian named Day Peace. And I've known him. I don't know nearly as much about the guy as I should. He just recorded an album, and it'll be coming out soon. And I'm going to talk with him all about that and all about what it's like to be in a large metropolis and end up in Mason City, Iowa, which is where he's living down right now. So Day Peace tomorrow, you guys. Listen to Governor Walz. Stay safe, please. Wash your hands. And we will see all of you guys tomorrow.